Hey, fellow dads, welcome back to the Good Dads podcast, where we are dadly motivated to be good parents, good husbands, and good men. I'm your host, Gerald Mr. B. Posmays, the good dad to four beautiful and talented kids, ages 22, 19, 18, and 14. I've been married 17 years, and we've been together for almost 20. My wife and I have a blended family, meaning she came into our relationship with one. I came into the relationship with one, and we have two together. So if you're trying to do that math, how does he have a 22-year-old but only been together for 20 years? Well, that is how. So, along this journey of being a dad, I've hit many roadblocks, reroutes, and even utter devastation in some areas of my life in my quest to be a good dad and also a good husband, and most importantly, a good man. And along my failures, I've learned new things. I've met some cool ass dads, and we talk about it here on the Good Dads podcast. And on this episode, I want to welcome in Mr. Antanus Pullum. He is an exceptional elementary school educator and the visionary founder behind Gentlemen by Choice. Mr. Pullum's profound impact on young minds extends beyond the classroom, fostering growth and development in ways that resonate throughout their lives. In this episode, Mr. Pullum delves into the ethos of teaching, sharing how his upbringing and family values have shaped his passion for education. Growing up in a vibrant and inclusive household, he learned the importance of love, acceptance, and hard work from his parents. Initially aspiring to be a lawyer, Mr. Pullum shifted his focus to education, driven by a desire to proactively influence young lives rather than reactively address issues. Mr. Pullum discusses the critical role and relationships in education, emphasizing the need for educators to genuinely connect with students and their families. He highlights the importance of representation and the powerful impact of having educators who reflect the diversity of their students. His innovative program, Gentlemen by Choice, aims to equip young boys with the skills and confidence needed to navigate life's challenges, emphasizing leadership, etiquette, financial awareness, and more. I have to be honest. I met Mr. Pullum for the very first time. He's an active member of our community, but I've met him for the first time about 3 weeks ago at a men's conference. And when I tell you that Mr. Pullum had a profound impact on just the way he thought about being an educator, that I I have to give him his kudos. I am amazed by how you are as a teacher. Like I know the teacher is just a title, and it's really the man that shows up at the schools every day who just so happens to be the teacher. But the fact that you hold on to these kids like throughout their life, I overheard you say this out loud at one of the meetings. You said, "Once I get them, then they're mine forever." And I wish that there were more teachers like you. You know, I wish I had a teacher like you when I was in school. Where does that ethos around being a teacher come from for you?
From my mom, well, from my mom and dad. The Like I said, she was the youngest of 14, and
Mm,
our household was always the epic center. Everybody would come hang out at my mama's house, my daddy's house. Spades, dominoes, alcohol, you name it.
mhm,
That's what went down at the house. And when the adults came over, they brought their kids as well. So we just always had a synergy for family and the love of kids. And she just had a love for people. I
mhm.
don't want kids, but just the love for people, all white, black, blue, green, purple. And so I grew up in that atmosphere. And like I said, I wanted to be a lawyer. I was about trying to make that money. That was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
yeah, my senior year, my senior yearbook, you had they projected where would you be in 4 years, graduating from law, well, get my law degree, get my own law firm, making 500,000 a year. That was the focus. But I always knew I wanted to work with kids.
Mm,
And I said to myself, being a lawyer, when would I really work with kids? And it was, when they were in trouble. Because
right.
America is such a reactive society. And I said, well, what can I do to be proactive? And I switched my major to teaching, and as I said, the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I'm passionate about what I do. My parents show me what love looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, what it tastes like, and so that was just, my passion.
Mm. And what was your relationship like with your parents, with your father and your mother?
Incredible, absolutely incredible. They shaped me to be the person I am today. My dad gave me and again, I keep saying the permission to be authentically who I am today. My mom told me I was the most important person on the planet.
Mm,
Being growing up back then, being dark skinned, that was a taboo. And so, she would call me her black gold.
mm,
Growing up, I would get called Darth Vader, cockroach, the whole nine. That would crush me,
right.
my
It's all right.
grandson.
It's all right. We know. Can't be on the show if you ain't got something. I got a whole party.
And
I got a whole Father's Day party going on outside this door.
and she said, "You my black gold. I wouldn't trade you in for $1 million." And
Mm,
she called me black gold. And I really wonder, if I didn't have a mom pouring into me that black was beautiful,
right,
like where would I be today?
right.
She's like, man, you my black gold. My daddy showed me hard work, what hard work looked like. So just yeah, I am a combination of them.
That's awesome.
Bye, man. Go upstairs. Yeah, go upstairs. So he sits down. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Nope. No, thank you. You doing something important. I want to be here with you. How many
Yeah.
uh how many siblings do you have?
Whew. Uh, the total, it's complex, but a total living and born, I have a total of 11. I'm a
Ooh,
10. So it's 17 total.
17 kids?
Yeah, total. But it's
That
it's a complex story about it.
I
Yeah, but
understand.
17,
Okay.
17.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really awesome to it's really awesome because you don't see that a lot where you have a family with a lot of kids and you feel like you got enough attention, you got enough time, you got enough love, you got all of those things.
So again, going back to, I'll bring down the dynamics for you. So my biological father is 11 of us.
Okay.
My mother's only birth child. My older sister
You
from
are?
yeah. So my
Okay.
mother had it. My mother had a daughter. She passed away at birth. Then
Okay.
I was born, and then I had a younger brother. He passed away when he was 6 months,
Oh,
5 or 6. Let me see, 5 or 6 months. But then she adopted four young ladies. Her
okay.
nieces, two of her nieces, a cousin. Oh no, matter of fact, her cousin, and then two out of the foster system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys are some loving people. That is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and it helped me because I tell folks, being only child, growing up as only child, you can't help but be selfish. Because I
Mm,
grew up in a household with my mom. It wasn't with my biological fathers. They were much older than me. Well, some of them are. So, but I was in a household with my mom and my daddy. My daddy's the one who raised me. That's my daddy.
got you.
And so,
And by daddy, you
you
don't
know,
mean biological father.
yeah. So, father,
Fair
this is
enough.
how I break it down. Father
Okay.
is the sperm donor,
Okay.
and the daddy is the one who raised you. That's my
I'm with it.
definition.
I like it.
So yeah, my daddy, I was on the house, in the household, and so I was spoiled. And then my grandmama spoiled me because my mom was the baby, so that's
Mhm.
dirt the baby. So when I say spoiled, brother, I was spoiled. And then when my aunt passed away, my two cousins came, and that was hard for me. People like, oh, you were mean, you were this, you were that. But I'm thinking from a child's psyche, if you're used to getting everything you want and you're being the center of attention, and then all of a sudden there's no sit down and talk like, hey, Antanus, this is the transitioning that's about to happen. It was just, hey, I'm solo one day and the next day is three of us.
Right.
So that was tough for me. But again, everything happens for a reason. It was such a blessing. I hate the fact that my aunt passed away because my aunt spoiled me too.
Mm-hmm.
Before she had them two, I was like hers. But again, and then one year I was at college. I came home for spring break. It's another kid in the house. I'm like, what the? And so it was my mom, and this is her mentality. She said, speaking on my grandmother, she said if my mother, she called my grandmother her mother, her mom and mother. She's like, if mother knew that there were some relatives in child care or foster care, and I didn't do anything about it, she'd be turning in her grave. And
Right.
so she adopted her, and then there were two kids down in the foster care. The foster care thing was bubbling with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's friend said, hey, Kirk, can you help us out? And she got one in December, and she got another one in February the next year. And they've been with us forever, forever,
Yep.
ever, ever, ever.
And you consider all of them family.
Oh man, yeah. So one of them I consider my daughter because I helped. Like she literally stayed with me. And again, everything happens for a reason. The reason I'm so close to her is because when my brother passed away, she looked just like my brother when she was a
Mm.
baby, looked just like him. So I had a natural bond. And my mama teased my daddy. She's like, "What you been doing? This child look just like our baby." And so that was a running joke. She really looked just like my aunt, like for real. So excuse me. So she stayed with me. I took in and raised her as my daughter slash sister.
That's
So
awesome. That's awesome. So it seems like y'all always kind of had this like huge heart for family, and then as you extend out in family, and then when you get into uh a career that's essentially like creating families every year, right? Like every single year you get more and more children added to Mr. Pullum's family.
absolutely, I tell folks, man, I got a billion kids out there. Watch out. Hey, you never know where they're coming from. I get a bat signal call.
Hmm. How many kids do you have of your own?
Biologically zero, but I raised like I have one. You know, I don't call him my stepson; he's my son.
Right.
So biologically none.
So biologically none, but you have one by marriage,
Relationship.
relationship.
We lived at
And how
that.
long have you been in his life?
19? No. 21?
Since he was
21 years?
21? Oh,
No, since he was five. So he's
okay.
26 now. So 21
Okay.
years.
Yeah, that's I have a similar situation. My oldest son is actually not mine biologically. He's my wife's from a previous, so I have a blended family as well. So my wife has
Yeah.
one from a previous, and I have one from a previous, and then her and I have two together. But he's 23 now, and I've had him since he was 2 years old.
Yeah. Hey, my mama said if you put food in them and a roof over the head, you're yours.
Yeah, that's what I say too. And I think we had one conversation. It was kind of funny too because we transitioned in over all of this because we had one conversation about like the naming, like how we were going to refer to each other, and I had found out that he felt out of place because everybody was calling me dad, and he was the only one, calling me by my first name. So we came up with
Mm,
a little blend of the two, and he's been my son, and he's been calling me Daddy Gerald since 3 years old. So
mm,
it's been
mm,
a blessing. It's probably the one father child relationship that I have that's probably shaped me the most. It's a
Right.
different animal raising somebody else's kid. You don't
Mm.
have really a
And
frame
I
of
tell folks,
reference.
this is a choice.
Yes, it
Right? It's a
is.
choice. And, and they're here now. Him, his future fiance, and my two grandkids are here now at the house. Matter of fact, they're
That's all.
upstairs now.
That's awesome. And they view you like dad, right?
Mm.
Like,
Oh yeah. Pawpaw. And the beautiful thing about it, he was born. The oldest one was born on my 50th birthday.
that's awesome. So let me ask you a couple questions, right? So how has taking on that role as a father how has that like changed your perspective on life, and how has that impacted how you are as a teacher?
Mm, I would say one because I grew up with and I didn't like to use the term stepdad, but I grew up with a male figure that was not my biological, but that was my dad. Like he was with my mom ever since I was 6 months. So that's and I knew my biological father as well, but that's my daddy. And so you just love it's not about being blood related. It's about being passionate, coming from your heart, and treating people how they need to be treated.
Mhm.
And so, you know, I stepped in where someone wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. And then their relationship grew as well, and which is beautiful because the more the merrier, all hands on deck, you know.
Right.
And then as a teacher, and I don't like to refer to myself as a teacher, even though I'm not in a classroom anymore. I say educator.
Okay.
I'm just saying for me, some folks love the term teacher. For me, it's about being again transparent and being present. I've shared this with you all the time, man. It's about presentation, or not presentation, but representation and being present. If you're not
Mhm.
present, man, they might not see anyone that looks like me that they can reference that looks like them. And I've
Right.
had many, many students come back and say, Mr. Pullum, thank you. You were my only black male teacher. This is in first grade, second grade, or third grade. So just being that visible stop sign down the road of life,
Mhm.
because they might not see another stop sign that look like me.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen many black educators that weren't the coach of something, you know?
Right. I,
And I
yeah.
know you've spoken this before. It's like so many avenues that we see as young black people, young black men, young black kids, period, is an avenue that has to lead through some sort of entertaining other cultures of some sort, whether that be through sports or music or whatever it may be. But you don't see many black educated professionals telling you that you can just simply just be educated. You can simply be educated, smart, and want to take the next step of life without having to jump through the hoops of the monkey race, so to speak. So
Mhm.
I take my hat off to you for just being the pillar of that movement, so to speak, because there aren't many. You have the stats, right? Like uh how many African American educators do we have in leadership? It's just in our
Yeah.
city of
So
Las Vegas.
so when you say leadership, are you talking about principal or an AP as well? So as far as men,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
tell us
just say
all.
those who are principals. We have two male principals in high school, two black male principals in high school, and one is at a comprehensive school. And when they say comprehensive, they mean the 9 through 12
Behavior.
traditional school, no traditional school. And then
Okay.
we have one who's in a credit retrieval, and that's my cousin. So we have two black men who are principals, and there are a handful of assistant principals, but like I said, it may be a handful, it may be five. And then in
Mm.
elementary, but this is where it's disheartening. In elementary, there are 317, I think, in Clark County elementary schools,
Mhm.
two black male principals.
Wow.
Two,
I wonder
two.
what the stats are for just black male teachers.
Is less than 2%. I can get that
Wow.
less than 2%. That's across the nation.
Across the nation, less than 2% black male educators.
And then if you can, it gets even smaller in elementary.
Mm,
Black men usually tend to go to middle school, high school.
right.
Um, Seeing a black man in elementary is like a needle in a haystack. Let me say, a needle in an acre of haystacks. You don't see it. It's rare. You really don't.
Right. Do you think that's
You don't.
impactful that
And then if
they
you,
that we increase those numbers? Do you think that that's important?
I, absolutely, absolutely, kids get
Well,
turned off. So if you go to a kinder class right now, every hand is raised because they're excited about school. Go to fifth grade class, and I would probably even say fourth grade now, but we'll just say the whole family of the elementary dynamics. Go to fifth grade. Yeah, you ask a question. Really, do you see hands go up? Because they've lost the love to learn.
Mm.
So it's hard to learn when you don't see people that look like you, that believe
True.
in you.
True.
I mean, that's in anything. So if you don't have it, and I'm not saying all black teachers are the greatest and white teachers can't teach, but if you have people who don't, first one believe in you, first one that can relate to you, believe in you, important to you, then it's hard to get motivated. That's like
Absolutely.
folks going to work every day. If you
Absolutely.
don't have a boss or somebody in leadership that's believing
Yeah.
important to you, that's hard to get up and go to work.
I understand that. And I think it's also when you add in the fact that you're going to get a majority of our black students in the inner cities, which are also Title IX, you'll get an influx of teachers looking for the money that's seeing this position as, just it's the same job just with a little extra money. And they're not actually viewing it like this is an opportunity to actually give back to the communities that actually need really good teachers. We end up getting the teachers who are just either check, looking for checks or don't really care. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. We keep saying, teachers just want the check. It takes a lot for somebody to show up every day looking for a check because they can get beat up. And I don't mean physically, I mean mentally. It's tough. If you just come, it's not worth it. It wouldn't be worth it to me just to come to work and get that check. I can you can go do something else because I've seen some teachers get beat up, boy. I'm like, man, I know they're going home and get them a shot every day.
Yeah, for real.
My cousin proposed this. I have a cousin, really smart young man, and we sit and talk, and we were saying I would get the best teachers, and this is how you would do it: get the best teachers in elementary and pay them more.
Mm,
Like, okay, we're gonna get the best of the best. We're gonna pay you more because you are so important to this relay of education. You the first leg, you got to pop it off, and so we're gonna pay you more. But now, when the kids get to middle school, we're not gonna pay you as much. But because there's such a great foundation, you really don't have to work as hard now. Now you can just really teach because
mm,
we've planted that foundation in elementary. So now when they get to middle school, they still have the passion and love because they've been nurtured so well in the elementary. Now, and honestly, great teachers, great educators, when they come, they're not looking, of course we want to get paid and pay our bills and whatnot. But if I just can just go and teach in a class,
right.
man, I'm not thinking. But now, when I can teach in the class, then man, where are my money? You're gonna have to pay me for this beat up I'm getting. But if I can go into a classroom and just be passionate about what I love to teach, the money is not really in the forefront of your brain; it's in the back. And so, and then now you in high school, the love of learning is continued. Then the money, then you wouldn't have a problem. But it's hard to get folks because that paycheck. And hey, folks say they on the battlefield now. They want that battlefield pay.
They want that combat pay, huh? They want that combat
For
pay.
real, for real.
Well,
And
how do you address something like, so obviously I'm married to a educator myself. She's a kinder first grade teacher. She spent her first year. She raised our children first. Then the last 4 years before they started to transition out, she went back to school, got her degree. So she's actually coming into her third year of teaching. So she's taught kindergarten, first grade, and now kindergarten again. She's going back to kindergarten. And she's noticing that these kids are coming in already with like the weight of the world on them already. Like, I've
Mhm.
said this to you before. She had a student in her class that was nonverbal, never spoke. She had a student in her class, all in the same year, student in her class that he would beat his head on the desk, rip books in half, flip the table up. And she'd have the year before that, she had a girl that would come to school consistently, like almost every day with nits or lice. You know what I mean? So like these kids come from all of these different homes. One kid was living in the car with his mom and dad at the park. So it's like, how do we also navigate like some of the social things or the environmental things that these kids are going through and being able to, I don't know what it is. I'm at a loss for words too, because like they come to school already with the weight of the world on them, and we expect them to be ready to learn their ABCs, and
Right.
they don't even know if they're gonna even eat dinner tonight.
It goes back to one, building relationships with parents. When I was in a conference last November, they said something that really shook me. They said we never talk about the trauma of parents.
Mm.
And I said, wow, I never heard it out loud. Because we talk about what things are going on in the household, but thinking about the trauma that parents have, and now those kids are in that environment of their trauma, and then they come to school, and then thinking about a teacher with trauma. So I'm coming from,
Right.
I have trauma at home, and I'm coming to a classroom where the teacher's having trauma at home, and now, man, I'm 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 getting beat up on both sides. But it really becomes, I feel, about just building relationships. It's about the experience. I'm reading a book right now called the second time called The Starbucks Experience. And
Starbucks
it talks about
experience.
the experience that you get when you go to Starbucks.
Mm.
When you walk in, they just don't sell coffee. They give you a whole experience.
Yep.
The vibe, the music. You get greeted when you walk in. When you walk in, hey, welcome to Starbucks.
Hmm.
They're welcoming you in. How many times have parents come on campus and say, "Hey, welcome to such and such school. Welcome." That's the experience you go in. We don't do a good job of making parents feel welcome. So if I'm not helping the parent, who in turn can help the child, because we assume, parenting didn't come in a handbook. We can say,
Nope.
hey, go to page 32. Oh, paragraph 3. Okay. No, and so it takes everyone. It's tough out there right now. The fact that you got parents in the car, you know, and their kid is still coming to school says a lot.
Mm.
So as a leader of a school, again, we got to go out and reach parents where they are instead of, and again, I love what I do, but we're in such a hypocritical profession. We sit high, we look low, and we talk about people because they don't have quote unquote degrees. And I share with folks, just because people have degrees on their wall in their classroom don't make them an expert in that subject
Mm.
at all. And so we have to humble ourselves and say, if I'm in this position, my position is to help children. And then in turn, I need to help kids. I mean, the parent. So it takes truly a village. And I remember one year, one of my principals, we canvassed the neighborhood before school started. When we came back, we went out, and that was a great way that teachers got to bond with each other.
Hmm.
And then we got to bond with the neighborhood. And we were knocking on doors like, hey, welcome to our school year coming up. We just want to introduce ourselves. Parents enjoyed that.
Right.
So think about it. If somebody's coming and knocking on your door, like, hey, we're very happy that your child's going to be attending our school. We look forward. My name is such and such. They might not even be your teachers, child's teacher, but the fact that the school is reaching out to the community
Right.
will play a huge part, because it seems like it's a us versus them mentality,
It does.
and then the child gets caught in the middle.
Right.
And we just have to do a better job of building relationships. I'm all on about building relationships, and people ask all the time, why do parents interact with you? Because I talk to them. I say, hi, how you doing? Welcome. Would you like to come in? I've had parents this year like, hey, come in the classroom. We can come in? I'm like, man, come in. It's our child. Well, thank you, Mr. Pullum. And they come in. Like, it's really not that hard. But again, some teachers like to hide what they're not doing in the classroom.
Yeah.
Any parent, any admin, anybody should be able to walk in your class, and your class should run the same as it did. Day one, day 79, day 120, day 180. And then also you have more odds. Parents don't mind helping you help their child. In turn, they knowing that you're helping them help their child. It's a
Right.
win-win for everyone. Sometimes we just make it so difficult.
Right. You're like, I'm glad you ended it with that, because I was just about to ask, do you think it's that simple?
I really do. It's we make it harder than what it really is. If you reach and ask for, think about this. I'm sending my kid to the school for 180 days.
Right.
I need you to be the very best on your job. And so therefore, make me feel welcome. We don't do, like I said, man, we don't do a great job of making parents feel welcome.
Mm.
And so again, it becomes us against them. It just boggles me why we don't do that as a whole community. The churches used to be like that.
Right.
Now the schools should be that, and we don't. It's so schools are relatively across the street from some neighborhoods, and it seems so
Hmm.
far. It seems like it's miles and miles apart.
Yeah.
But think about this though too. Most teachers, I'm gonna say 95% of teachers don't live in a neighborhood
Yeah.
where they
Where they
teach.
teach at. Yep.
So so they get in their car and they
Yep.
deuces.
Back to they whatever neighborhood they live in. And it
I
used to be
dropped it
to
in.
where like the churches used to be the center of the communities, and the teacher that taught your kid went to the church, and the grocer down the street went to the church, and everybody knew each other,
Hmm.
so you felt more comfortable sending your kids somewhere because you knew that they would be taken care of, you knew they'd be safe because you knew the people who would be interacting. Now it's like sending your kids to day jail. I'm not saying that it is day jail. I'm not saying that it is day jail, but I'm just saying we don't know. Like I said, so I'll give you an example, and I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm not copping out for my son, but at the
Mm,
beginning he goes to Northeast Technical Career Institute over here by Legacy, which is right across the street
I
from
know
Legacy.
exactly.
The very first 2 or 3 weeks, he damn near gets expelled, and he gets expelled because he, him and his friend and another kid were all talking mess about each other. One kid has dreads, whatever. Another kid takes a picture of him and posts that picture on his social media, and then my son retweets it basically. And they wrote him up for bullying, and said that my son was bullying, textbook bullying. That's what they told me.
Cyberbullying. Yeah,
Yep,
cyberbullying. Yes.
textbook cyberbullying, and there was nothing I could do. And I was at that school probably every day for 9 days in a row, right? Because they were trying to get him out of school for like 4 weeks. I was under no circumstances was like I was gonna allow that to happen, right? And it's like the problem is like none of these people know my son. You know what I mean? Like they don't know my son from Adam. They don't even really know the context of the conversation. They just know that the
Mm.
picture was taken. The boy, the boy's mother was more mad than the boy, so everything has to now go up the chain, right?
Mm.
So it's like, how do you protect your kids from having to get the paper before they get the conversation, before they get the understanding? And you know what I mean? It's like, and that feels like jail, right? It's almost like you're you're just guilty because the rules say you're guilty, but we don't take into consideration that they are 13-year-old kids, 14-year-old kids. And it's hard as a father for sure. You know what I mean? It's very hard as a father for sure. I'm not taking any of that away. I'm not saying that what my son did
Mm.
was right. I'm not copping out for him whatsoever. I'm just saying it's tough in that circumstance because obviously for me as a father on the outside, I'm like, what's the harm in a retweet, right? But it's like what I really felt was y'all never had a conversation with me, mom. Y'all never set up a conversation with us and the other kids' family. Y'all never did anything. Y'all was just ready to kick him out of school without any of this conversation. Fast forward after I done, kind of raised hell a little bit at the school, got his suspension down to 2 days, got him back in class. Like then, the vice principal called me every single month. So I know exactly what you mean when you say if you show up at the school, they treat your kids different. They do. I got a testimony for that because the lady called me about she would dish every quarter. She'd call me and be like, "Just want you to know, Mr. Mays, that your son is doing well. He's a really nice kid, and I'm so glad that we were able to move on." Beyond our first incidents that we can really get to see him. I'm like, yeah, but he got paper on him now. You know what I mean? That's going to be on him
Exactly.
for forever. So it's
And
like, how do we navigate these situations? Because it doesn't actually feel like what we believe school should be. It feels like an institution that we're dropping our kids off at. And if they don't line up, then they get kicked to the curb. If they don't meet the standard immediately, then they just kind of get kicked to the curb.
We have to build a better culture in the school system, in the school setting. The culture just has to change. But again, that goes back to we got to get people that look like us.
Right.
To like, man, come on, that's a like, man, cut that out. You know better than that. You know that if you do this, this is what this is going to lead to. That's that conversation piece. Now, if it happens again, now you know the consequences.
Right.
I warned you. Okay, Mr. Pullum. And most kids, when they have a relation, well, let me go back to preference. My experience. Let me start saying, not the Starbucks experience, but Mr. Pullum's experience. If you build a relationship, they don't want to let you down.
Right.
So they're like, mm-mm, what? And I've had kids say this. They're like, Mr. Pullum. I always say, what would Mr. Pullum do? Mm-mm, Mr. Pullum wouldn't do that. So I'm going, again, at the end of the day, it goes back to relationships. I'm a firm believer. I've shared, and I've shared this with my students who are teaching now. I say, when you build relationships, procedures, and routines, you will have a well-functioning class.
Mm.
But that's just the environment, setting up the environment. With the relationship in the classroom, it can't be a cookie cutter approach.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really have to be a student of your students. You have to really get to know each student. And can that be hard? Absolutely. But is it worth it? Absolutely. So I get to know each kid, or I may say, okay, well, these two kids kind of like they're similar, so let me get to know them not individually, separately, but individually together.
Right.
These two are similar. They like the similar things. Okay, we can talk about these things. And just again, a couple years ago when I was a PE teacher, I'm the jack of all trades. I started walking around in the morning time with the kids right before school started. Kids were just hanging out, so we start walking around in the morning. And this kid who hardly ever talks, she would just talk. I mean, she would just talk. I'm like, oh my god, I got to know things about her that I'm like, wow, that's incredible. Just a general walk. And then
Mm-hmm.
we started out with one kid, then it became five, and then it became 30. Then there's almost 50 kids out there running and walking around, all just because I took the time. When you take
Right.
the time to invest in them, they'll definitely do the work for you.
And how do we take Mr. Pullum and bring it to the schools, all the schools? Because
Well,
like
that's
you
what
are a
that.
unicorn, my brother. You are a straight unicorn. Like there
but
aren't
that's
many
why I want
teachers
to.
that do that.
But that's why I want to start a pathway to get people that look like me and people who don't look like me as well. People who just want to get in the profession or are passionate about the profession. And I want to mentor them and say, look, this is what it looks like. But we
Mm.
have to, again, we have to back up and say, teaching is sexy. We have to make it look sexy,
Right.
because, and I'm not mad at him. If I'm at home and I'm seeing LeBron getting this fat contract and, Kendrick making this amount of money and,
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith, the bad boys just passed $1 billion.
Right.
That's money that we think, and so we see that. And so we need to talk about what education, what the pay looks like, because we get
Right.
paid handsomely, you know.
Right.
And then also share with them it's not what you make is what you do with it. It's not the income, it's the outcome.
Right.
And so we got to talk about those things. And I share my paycheck is when I see the light bulb go off, when I see that ding ding ding
Mm-hmm.
ding, woo,
When they
and I get
get it,
so
huh?
excited. I get so excited. And then when I get excited, they get excited. They get excited. I get excited. Just to, again, I'm a big kid at heart.
Right.
I love what I do. But people have my black male friends talk about the first thing that comes up is the pay. Man, y'all don't get paid enough. I don't get paid enough. And I could literally sit down with some of these folks and let's look at our what we've accomplished financially and see who's doing better.
Right.
It's not that again, folks get caught up like all you talk about is money, 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 and you brag about money. I really don't. I'm really quiet with it, but people have said the things that you've done, you need to share so they can say, hey, if he's done it as a
I can do it.
teacher,
Mm.
you can do it. And so I share, man, if you set a budget and you're intentional with your spending, man, anything's possible.
Right. I
You know,
feel
I,
like
and I, and I, sh- go ahead.
no, I'm sorry.
And I show kids in my house, like here my house is, you know, like, how you get that? I'm like, hey, if I can do it, guess what? You guys are smarter than me. You definitely can do it.
For
So
real.
I bring them into my world, and then they also feel comfortable with bringing me into their world. And then guess what? They go back and tell the parents, and then the parents feel comfortable
Right.
talking more because most some of the kids, well, half of the kids' parents who've come to the country legal, and
Mm,
so but they still feel comfortable with me because again, just building a relationship.
right. I feel like sometimes when we say like, "Oh, y'all don't make enough money," I think it also is a mixture of the money and our perception of what you have to
Right,
deal with on a day-to-day
right,
basis, right? Because the school
right.
system in any city doesn't get good publicity, right? Like the only time you hear about the school system on the news is because the teachers are terrible or the kids are terrible. And and I think that doesn't happen as often as people think. And I think that in with every class, you have a new opportunity to make teaching exactly what it should be for that year. And we maybe just need to
We need,
teach teachers better.
yeah, we do. We need leadership who believes in that and then holds people accountable.
Right.
And when you get a chance, man, read the Starbucks book experience. I'm reading it for the second time, and I'm going through and
Okay.
highlighting stuff that I didn't catch the first time. And all it talks about leadership, just leadership, holding people accountable, and modeling your expectations. It's
Mm,
not about it's not about it's not about admin versus teachers. And you get that
yeah.
dynamic with the admin versus the teachers. No, it's all of us collectively. I'm gonna
Mhm.
tell you the best principals I've had. I'm not gonna say any names. The best principals I've had were the ones who said, "Hey, I would get there before us, roll up their sleeves, and get to work. Hey, what do you need me to do for you guys?"
Right.
And guess what? When they said that, I'm ready to run through a wall for them. Like, no,
Right.
what do you need me to do for you?
For
Because
sure.
they showing we in the battlefield, like we in the battlefield together. And they're not saying, "Hey, I'm gonna put you guys in the front. I'm gonna stay behind." Now we all get in the hole together.
Yeah. I like
And
that.
then some of them will say, "Hey, you go take a prep. Hey, let me go. Let me teach you a lesson. Let
Mm.
me." One principal loves science, man. Let me teach some science. And do you think the kids were geeked up when the principal came into the classroom and was teaching
Oh,
science?
yeah.
Oh my goodness! And again, that spreads. It's infectious on the campus.
Mm.
When you see your quote unquote leader walking hand in hand with you,
Right.
that's we have to do better in putting positions in people that want to be. And again, this is just me. I fire folks. The people say we have a shortage, but I will let them know. No, no. If you don't want to be here, I'm gonna get somebody wants to be here because I tell folks I can teach 100 in the classroom
Mm.
because again it goes back to relationships, routines, and procedures.
Right.
The numbers really don't matter. I mean, of course, we want a smaller, but and then you'll start getting good teachers. Like people
Mm.
know, like, well, I know they're not playing. This is an environment I want to be in because I know
Exactly.
they're about the business.
Exactly.
Because because the
I watch
model
my
now,
I watch my wife all the time, and I'm like, she could, and they work in like sections, right? So it's
pods,
yeah, in pods. So it's her whole first grade team, and I'm like, you doing all the work though? Like you doing all the work for all four teachers? I'm like, I ain't with that. You know what I mean? Y'all
yeah,
supposed to have like a little calendar, but everybody else is too quote unquote overworked. You know what I mean? I'm like, why is this? But my wife is like, nah, this is for me. Like this is like I
right,
understand that I'm doing all the work, but this preparation is for me. That means I'm gonna be
yeah,
prepared. And she has built relationships with all of her students, all of the
okay.
parents, and I've had a chance to go in and volunteer in her classroom. So I like those little buggers too. I bring them
But you see the
things when I
difference.
come in, but it's a big difference because it feels like commute. It's a big difference when the kids go home and say, "Oh, I met Mrs. Mays' husband. I met Mr. Mays." Those kids have met my children because my kids go down there and volunteer. My daughter has now been inspired by my wife to go, and because she actually went to school for graphic design and then came back for the summer and was like, I think I want to do something different. And she was like, I like this. She been, doing the kids work as well. So she's like, I'm like, man, I never knew and I think my oldest son is a teacher too. I think he is. He don't know he a teacher yet, but I think he a teacher. He got a finance degree, but every summer in college, he's worked the YMCA. He's been a student counselor at the YMCA. Even now, he's leaving to New York on Wednesday to go work at a like this Jewish camp. It's like called Camp Lakonda, and it's a youth camp, and that's what
Hold
he
on.
wants to do.
Is it a word play off Wakanda?
No, no, it's low conda. That I think
Okay.
this thing has been in existence for like 100 something years. It's
Okay.
it's like
Okay.
$16,000 to go for 6 weeks. Yeah,
But going back to see the investment, they believe they invest in what they believe. Just
right.
imagine if we did this. Just imagine if we invested our monies into educational programs during the summer.
Mm,
How much more prepared we would be going into the school year. It's
absolutely.
about investment. We have to stop looking at it as I'm paying for something versus I'm investing.
Right.
Because when you pay for something, you're really not thinking about a return.
Hmm.
But when you invest in something, you're thinking of a return. We just have to change that mindset. Because when people say we as a people don't have money, we have money. We just spend it as
Yeah,
consumers.
exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. We sure do.
But think about what you just said though, because your daughter got to see your wife in her bag, that inspired her to be a teacher. I
Hmm.
never knew how many kids I inspired to be teachers. I had no idea because I was pushing them for, not saying that teaching isn't a great profession, it's a wonderful profession. But when they said they wanted to do X, Y, and Z, okay, well, let's go do that. They
Right.
say, Mr. Pullum, I want to be an astronaut. Well, then let's go be an astronaut. I want to be a doctor. Let's go be a dentist. Let's go do those things. But then I have students who say, Mr. Pullum, I'm teaching now because of you. I'm like, I have 4 babies right now who are teaching. I got six now because I have two that are in summer school that are about to start. So I have six for sure that are like my babies that are teaching. And man, now that I think about it, that's seven. I have seven that
Wow.
are teaching.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And they wanted to do other things. And then I have some. Man, I've just been blessed. I've been really blessed with some great students, some great parents who are doing some phenomenal things. I have one that's two in dental school right now that are going to
Mm,
be dentists. You know, matter of fact, I got three that's going to be dentists. Man, it's just a blessing, man.
man, that's
Again,
awesome.
I love what I do and I'm passionate about it. And so when you're passionate about it, it rubs off. I don't know if I share with you guys, there was a student, fourth grader. She came halfway through the year, really, really quiet. And I wouldn't have gotten to know her if I wouldn't have went into the class, if the teacher wouldn't have had an operation on her foot. I never would have built a relationship with her. And I got to meet her and we just bonded. And she wants to be a teacher. She said, I want to be a teacher
Mm,
just like Mr. Pullum. I'm like, man, that's beautiful.
man,
And
I'm too soft for all that. I'd be crying at work every day.
oh man, hey, Brad, man, they breaking me down. But I love what I do. And because they know that I'm passionate about what I'm doing, they in turn say, well, he cares for me. And kids will give you their all. If they know you behind them, they'll give you your all. But we as adults have to do a better job. That's why I won't get into admin right now, man, because I don't like adults.
Right.
And I'll clap back on an adult real fast. And that's not helping the community.
Hmm.
Because because if you're not about the children, man, then it's just hard for me to interact with you. I put on
Right.
my best game face, but when you're not about the business and it gets to the point, man, then I have to tell folks off. And when I tell them off, they get in their feelings and I don't care about them getting their feelings. so, so, so
No,
yeah,
that's good.
but
Speaking of that, you got a organization, right? That you have called Gentlemen by
see
Choice.
that?
What?
See GBC?
Yeah, yeah,
You see the
yeah. I see it
background?
back there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you got
gentleman by choice, yes.
so you got a organization called Gentlemen by Choice. What's the inspiration behind that? What was the need that you believe you were feeling when you created this organization?
So when I was a dean at Agassiz, hey, teachers used to write them up all the time. And I mean, all the time. So they would come into my office, but I wouldn't suspend them. And the teachers used to get, he's not supporting us. He's not suspending them. And I would say, like, I'm not suspending them for something that you're not doing.
Mm,
You need to do your job. And if you do your job, then they wouldn't be in here with me.
right.
And my partner, Richard Jack III, he said, no, what can we do to help our young boys navigate this system of these teachers? That's we're gonna call the teachers the system. And so we said, let's come up with this life skills. And he has a military background. And our volunteers were all military background. So we instill leadership. We call it life skills, leadership, eyes for image. We changed their dress because Agassi was a dress code school. But we changed their shirts on Wednesdays. We taught them how to tie ties, bow ties. We taught them financial awareness
Mm,
and etiquette training. So we really taught. At the end of the day, it was about exposure. We gave them a tool belt, figuratively. Okay, here's your tool belt. Here are the tools that help you navigate when you're in the classroom. We're in the hallway. Do I need to pull out a screwdriver when I need a hammer?
mm,
Do I need to pull out pliers when I need a screwdriver? So just teaching them the different, aspects of use this when this situation arises. Use this, and that was the birth of it. And then we gave them, and at the end of the year, we started doing a banquet, a black and white tie gala, where they dressed up in tuxedos.
mm-hmm.
Parents would come in and show their growth. So at the table, they showed their etiquette, their food etiquette. They got awards. So that was the premises of it, and then it's just been going on. Then we're doing ladies about choice, and it's just a wonderful thing. Again, at the end of the day, it's about exposure. People want to be doctors. We get doctors in front of them. We get people who are experts in that area and come in and talk.
That's awesome.
Because if you see it, you can believe it.
Absolutely.
Man,
And it's
we've had kids who've been we went flying out in Henderson Airport. They got in the plane and flew planes, and
dang.
it was crazy. Oh yes, sir. Yeah, we've done some things, brother. We've done something, but it goes back to relationships.
Yeah, it's funny because the first time I've ever heard of Gentlemen by Choice is funny is maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. I went to high school with Wendell West.
Wendell P. Yeah, Wendell West. That's my
Yeah,
partner. Yeah,
yeah,
he was part of. He was
yeah.
a
He was
mentor.
part. He was a mentor, so I had seen some of the stuff that he was posting with that group as well. So, and
Yeah.
then I used to coach down there at Agassi a while ago with
Really?
with Reader and Petey Burrell.
What?
Yeah, yeah. Rest in
I just
peace,
saw Rita.
Petey.
I just saw Rita. I just saw Rita a couple weeks ago at graduation.
Yep, yep. Yeah,
Well,
me
I
too.
probably seen you because
Me too. Yeah.
I was at Agassi. I was at Agassi for 11 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. We probably ran into each other
Yeah.
at some point in time.
You coach football?
I used to back in the day when my oldest
I'm talking
son was
about,
young.
but I'm saying you coach a reader at Agassi.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
What?
we were doing a summer strength and conditioning program, so I ran their strength and
Okay.
conditioning work. And for Petey,
Okay, that's
Petey,
cool.
right? Oh,
P
okay.
who?
Petey
What's his
Burrell.
last name?
Burrell. Because
I may.
his son Cam was up there.
I may. I may.
Yeah.
I may.
Cam, Cameron
I
Burrell
may.
was up there too. He was the starting quarterback. He actually went off to go play college football.
Yeah, 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 yes, yes. I remember
Hmm.
Burrell.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
used
I
to,
definitely.
yep. I did all that strength and conditioning work. In my former life, I used to be a strength and conditioning specialist.
Okay, that's cool. Uh, and going back to remember we were talking about action. People. And I'm
Hmm.
glad you brought that up. You said we keep coming to these meetings and we keep talking. What are the next action steps? Just tell us the action steps, and that's what people are asking. Just what do you need from me, and we can do. And it goes back to the school setting. Sometimes parents are saying, "What can I do for you?" and teachers are closing the door on them.
Hmm.
And so our action step was on last Thursday. We went to the school board meeting.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to go. I
I think it
was
was
pouring
that's
sweat.
okay. Hey, I think it was the shortest school board meeting in the history of school board meetings.
Really? How many showed up?
Yeah. 9.
Did Weekly show up?
He spoke.
That's what he said. I had talked to him just right before that too. He said, "I think I'm going for. I want to make sure I got there for public comment."
Yeah, and he had some public comments. Yeah, people were shooken. Again,
Hmm.
representation. It's not about just again, we're not asking, we're just asking to treat everyone equal,
Right.
treat all our kids. But again, we have to get people, first of all, we have to recruit people, and then we have to retain them. And I was speaking with the superintendent, the interim superintendent. I said, look, oh, get me in front of people. I can recruit. I can call. I can sell it.
Right.
I mean, I can sell it. I can look. This is what it can be. Take me to the hood. Let me sell it to them. Come to Vegas. This is what possibly can happen. I mean, you got to do your work, but this is what can happen.
Right.
And then retain. I mean, people don't quit their jobs. They quit their bosses.
Facts. I put that on a
If
T-shirt.
you think about that, if you go to school for 4 years for education and you're passionate about it to become a teacher, admin, and you're in a good environment and somebody's helping you grow, who's leaving that?
For real.
Who's, and I said this too. I'm like, look, man, there are 365 days, and on every fourth year, there's 366 days. I
That's my
work
birthday.
184 of them. Oh, February 29th.
Yep.
So you like 800.
10.
And I say, look at this. I'm like, I work 184 of them. I mean,
Yeah,
let's do the math. That's half of a year, literally half of a year.
bro. I'm starting to learn right now. My wife's sitting at the crib going to these trainings. They pay $50 an hour to go to the training
Yes,
on top of her check.
yes, yes. And I'm just saying, if you're a good steward of money, and I know it costs a lot to
Yeah,
go to college,
yeah,
but again, if you're a good steward of your money, this could be a really great profession.
yeah.
One, you help in the,
No,
uh,
I've been on the fence too about teaching. So I'm not.
see.
I said on the fence.
Come
So
on in,
come,
come on, brother, come on, jump on in, jump on
so
in.
2020 before COVID hit, I had actually left. I used to run the health coaching department at MGM. So I used to work. The contract was through Lifetime because I have my undergrad is in public health and health science.
Oh no, tell me. You got membership at Lifetime?
Do I? No, not no
Yeah.
more. I left that job. I used to
Okay,
though.
good.
My daughter work up there right
Okay,
now. She work at the daycare.
okay.
So yeah, so I quit my job over there because I was gonna go into education. So I enrolled it at Sierra Nevada because it was like a bridge program, and then everything got shut down, and then Sierra got purchased by Reno, so it kind of lost my thing in the shuffle along with it was some military stuff as well, trying to get the funding right. But then like
Mm.
I'm not even gonna lie to you, 4 months ago, I bought the Teachers of Tomorrow package thing so that I can take those courses because I was looking at my wife
Look,
and my wife was being like she makes teaching look fun and she also makes teaching
look.
looks necessary. So I was like, I if I'm not going to do anything, then I need to go and at least put my hands on something that I believe is better than me. So
Let me say something, and I share this with a lot of my black male uh, partners. Just your presence alone sets the tone.
mhm,
It just sets the tone. It sets the tone. And then what happened if you just happen to be good in teaching too? Oh my goodness.
I know.
You walk in and people sit up. That's just the power of your presence.
Mm,
I can go to any classroom. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not bragging. I can go to any classroom and people are slouching. I was like, excuse me, go sit up. Go sit up.
mhm.
And now what if I know the content, and then I can actually deliver the content? What, we doing some learning in the school system? Come on now.
Yep. Yeah.
Just think about this. What if we did something like the NBA where there's a draft.
Mm,
What I want to do this year when we go back to school, I want to introduce. I want to talk to the principal and get us some like game jerseys
hmm
and make them when they come on the campus, like have them come out run and starting in first grade, teaching in first grade at 5'2", coming from the university of blah, 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 in her third year or his third year, room 53,
hmm
such and such. And man, man, just to make them feel welcome and energized,
Right.
man, stuff like that. So yeah, man, I'm excited. So let me read this quote, and this talks about. Let me ask you, what does Starbucks do? What is Starbucks known for?
What are they known for? Selling coffee.
Yeah. Okay. What is McDonald's known for?
Uh, Selling hamburgers. I know it's more systems,
Okay.
but
The number one thing is for McDonald's is real estate.
yes, I did know that because I watched the documentary. I did know that it is a
Yeah,
real estate business.
real estate. So this is what Starbucks does. We're not in the coffee business serving people, but in the people business serving coffee.
Mm. And that's what teaching should be.
So I'm
We're in
reading
the
this
kids'
again. So when
business,
I read the book,
serving education.
absolutely. So now I'm reading it the second time. I'm reading it from a lens of school.
Hmm
Yeah, well, I'm serving, and I tell the students, I work for you. I'm here to serve you. And you know how the power they feel so powerful. Like, okay, oh,
hmm
I'm your boss. Well, Mr. Pullum, I need you to do. Well, I'm gonna need you to step your game up, homie. But they
Yep,
love that. But again, it goes back to this book is really about building relationships.
that's gonna be on my list.
And man,
I'm definitely reading that one
yeah,
next. And I want
matter
to
of
be.
fact, I don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't know if you met Dre. He no, he didn't. Did Dre come to? No. So he and I are reading this book. We're gonna meet Thursday at uh, called it's a black bookstore downtown. I can't think of the name of it. I'll tell you, but we're reading the first chapter. We're gonna go and discuss it. Like I said,
On
I'm reading it
Thursday.
for the second time. Yeah, this Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
I'll share the book with you. I'll screenshot it for you. And it's called the Starbucks Experience: The Five Principles from Turning Ordinary into Extraordinary. Think about
Mm.
this. Starbucks did something with coffee. You could go to 7-Eleven and get a
Yeah.
99-cent cup of coffee. They made the experience where I'm willing to pay $5 for a cup of coffee. Because it's not really about the coffee, it's about how they made the customers feel.
Right.
Like when we come in, like I said, what if you come to the classroom every day? Hey Johnny, hey, high five, and now I'm geeked up, and then the experience, the atmosphere. Think about every Starbucks looks the same.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's on
They
purpose. They
they
look the
they
same.
all do.
Nice mellow music. And when you
Hmm
walk in, hey, Mr. Pullum, hey, Mr.
hmm
Myers, hey, who? Then what if you go often? They know what you're getting your special, the whatever. They
Right.
already
Right.
know.
They
And
do.
and then what's beautiful about them? They ask you your name when you're buying, and if they don't know you, they ask you your name,
Hmm
and then they call you when you what? When it's ready. Hey, Sean,
Yep. By
your
name.
tea's ready. By name. Because
Everybody loves to hear
everybody
their
wants to,
own name.
man, everybody want. Oh, hold on. Let me read something for you. Everybody wants to be seen and heard.
Yep.
Hey, check this out. Check this out. See, it's called "What's in the Name." It's a paragraph. Have you read Dale Carnegie's "How to Win Friends and Influence People"?
Yeah, I read that.
Oh, so check this out. Carnegie remarked, "Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language." Carnegie even suggested that a person's name may be his or her most valuable possession.
Ooh. Ooh. That's crazy.
Hey, hey,
It got me because I was like, damn, I love mine so much. I gave mine to my son.
check this out. And this is what my daddy shared with me. He said, "Son, you have two things. You want to say hi? Come on." He don't know. Sure no. He said, "Son, you have two things." He said, "You have your name and your word."
Mhm.
And I'm not going to do anything to embarrass my dad's last name. That's not what I'm going. Come on, come on.
with that.
Say hi. Wait, but go use the bathroom then. And I'm not going to embarrass. Not even. I'm not going to embarrass his name, my mom's last name. I'm not going to do that. And then my word. You know, if I say it with all my intent, I'm giving my best effort to make it happen. So my
Absolutely.
dad said, "Son, if you can't do it, then don't say it."
Right.
And so, but yeah, when I said that, so man, they systematically put things in places at Starbucks that gives you that experience. So it makes you
Mm-hmm.
want to come back.
Mm.
They call it the third place.
The third
It's the
place.
third place. The third place. Homework Starbucks.
Mm.
If you're not at home, you at not. If you're not at work, you need to be at Starbucks.
Damn. Dang. Oh, yeah. I think I'm at
The
the,
third place.
that book is now on my list. I'm about to get it. I might even join y'all. I gotta check my schedule, obviously, but I might even
Okay.
join y'all at what you said, 1 o'clock.
Yes, the third place. But I'm just saying. But I'm now that I'm reading this, I'm reading it again with
Mm-hmm.
schools in mind.
Right.
Like
Right.
I'm likening it to a classroom, to the principal, to the support staff. Everybody has to feel important. From
Mm-hmm.
and again, we do this. We do a horrible job of teachers look down on teachers' aides. No, when I had teacher aides, well, no, you are just as important in this classroom than I am. We need you to be successful, and when you're successful, the whole class runs smoothly. There is no, and when I'm in the classroom, I don't say this is my classroom. I don't even say my desk. I take out my. If I say, hey, go put that on the desk. This is our classroom. Go put it in our classroom. I take the my out.
Right.
So
Because it's a
kids
community
feel
thing, right? It's like
welcome.
this is a
Yeah,
community
yes,
thing.
it's our classroom. Yeah, it's our classroom.
I
It's
love
it's
that.
our. If,
I love that.
if
Like
there's no you, there's no me.
I love that. They say it. Oh, it's like what's that saying? They say, what does a teacher absolutely need to be a good teacher? Students.
Absolutely,
With no students, you are no teacher.
not at all.
They have
Not
to
at
be
all.
they
Not at
have to
all.
be the
And
most important thing.
exactly. But we treat it like we're the most important thing.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, 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 no. And then when I even tell our parents, I'm like, look, I work for you guys. Like, what do you need from me for us to be successful?
Hmm.
Like, what do you need? And again,
Right.
you can see the layers pulling back. Like, okay, I trust this person.
Right.
So, man, I love what I do. So we need to
That's
get
awesome.
more people in the position, future teacher,
Yeah, we'll see.
future educator.
I think my whole family is are educators. I've always known that. My mom is my mom when I was growing up, she used to take care of the disabled, of the people with Down syndrome and things like that. So she was a
Hey, hold
facilitator
on.
of that.
I don't mean to cut you off, but my mom did the same thing too.
Did she? Yeah, see?
Yeah.
My
So
aunts did
she
that.
would bring.
It's great. Like so even like my wife, my mother-in-law, they have ran the children's church on base. They have ran that program for about 20 years. My wife's family has on base, has ran that children's program. So my kids grew up going on base to go to Bible school, whatever those summer Bible schools are. So they've been teaching and rolling with kids, and I'm the stray. I've always been like, I don't
What are you
like
running
these
from, man?
kids. I don't know.
What are you running from, man? Come on,
don't,
come on,
don't
come
try
on
to hit
in.
me with the judo. What you mean?
Come on in. Hey, Yoda, come on in, brother. Hey, go and jump in. Because honestly, you have the passion. Like just getting to know
All
you in
right.
these last several weeks, you had a passion,
I don't know
and
what's
and
going
and
on.
and kids appreciate that. They appreciate the passion
Right.
because you can always like you said, all that other stuff can come. The ABCs, the one, two, threes,
Mm-hmm.
that'll come. But they're coming to a space where they feel comfortable and they want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had kids come to school. I'm like, man, why do you want to miss? Man, you sick. Like stay home. But they didn't want to miss. And so we have
Right.
set up an environment where kids don't want to miss school.
That's awesome. That's
Man,
awesome. That's awesome.
man.
Well,
And
Mr. Pullum, I don't want to take up too much of your time either because I got family in this other
Yeah.
room that I can hear him call up my name through the door ever so lightly. I wonder when drill's gonna be done. So, but I definitely want to have an extended conversation, in-depth conversation where we can actually get down some action items that we can actually, because I'm with what you say. Like I'm tired of the meetings. You know what I mean? I want to put my hands in the dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. I don't really know what it looks like. I probably have an idea. And that's what this podcast is about, really just highlighting the the great things that are going on in our communities and also highlighting the needs that we have. And I appreciate you for being the unicorn teacher that these kids need. And I'm sure that every kid who has got a chance to be taught by Mr. Pullum has is better for it, to be honest, because I know the research too, right? I know the studies too. And it says that if you can't reach these kids in the kindergarten and first grade, not reach them, but don't kill them.
Hmm.
If you can increase that fire, that desire for learning in the kindergarten, first grade, second grade, then those kids actually have a better success rate as adults. You know what I mean? And like you said before, you can't wait till high school to try to impact these kids. Most of them are too far gone, and they're going to have to bump their heads up against the wall to learn their lessons the hard way. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate what you've done in our community, man. Like I said before, I've never met a black male teacher like you. And
I appreciate it.
albeit maybe I've only met 10 of them, right? But I've never met one that's so passionate about what they do that they can inspire somebody else who's not in that field to take a look. So I hope that anyone who is listening to this, that they're as inspired as I am, about being more involved with the young people of our community, because it is these young people that are sitting in these schools that are going to make the decisions for us as we get older and we start to transition out of their society. And I
Right.
hope that the ones that the ones that make the decisions for me, Mr. Pullum's kids, because they're gonna be very well rounded.
There's a quote. There's a quote. It says I'm gonna get two quotes. Uh, Everybody is equal in time, but separated by what they do with it. We're all equal in time, but separated by what we do with it. And then another one is children make up 25% of the population, but 100% of the future.
Ooh,
So if we don't
pause
pour
on that
into,
one. Ooh.
right, so think about that. If we don't invest in that, the
Mhm.
future's coming.
Oh
They're
yeah,
coming. So what are we doing right now to invest in them? Because again, like you said, they're going to take care of us.
right. Man, I appreciate you for this conversation. And I appreciate you for joining us on this enlightening episode of the Good Dads podcast. We've had the privilege of hearing from Mr. Pullum, a dedicated elementary school educator and the founder of Gentlemen by Choice. Mr. Pullum's story is a powerful reminder of the impact that passionate and committed educators can have. Mr. Pullum's journey from aspiring lawyer to influential teacher underscores the importance of finding one's true calling and the profound difference it makes. His dedication to building relationships, fostering inclusivity, and inspiring young minds is truly commendable. Programs like Gentlemen by Choice are essential in providing young boys with the tools they need to succeed in both in school and in life. We hope that today's conversation has inspired you to appreciate the vital role of educators and to consider how you can contribute to your community, whether it's through supporting your local schools, volunteering, or simply being present in the lives of young people. Each of us has the power to make a difference. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the Good Dads podcast for more inspiring stories and valuable insights. And don't forget to share this episode with friends, family, and anyone who might benefit from hearing Mr. Pullum's remarkable journey. Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep striving to be the best dad you can be. Together, we can create a brighter future for our children and our communities. Take care.